Ahoy tubesters. I think that's what I'm gonna go with as my greeting from now on. Basically it just means hi. But today's video, in the spirit of the Samhain tide, All Hallows Eve, all that, this is the time of the ancestors, usually leads up until Yule, sometimes even during Yuletide, depending on the country. In Bohemian tradition, once the Yuletide happens, we kind of step back on ancestor work and do other things. But ancestor veneration, which is called manism, that's like the professional word or whatever for it, that happens all year round. But today we're going to be talking about my death potion. This is not a physicality death per se. This is more of like a situational thing, or a relationship thing, or things along those lines. It's not really call upon the death current, send someone to the grave type of death potion. And then if time permits, we might also talk about my ancestral summoning potion, because they kind of can go hand in hand. You know, this is the season of death, so you can put a lot of old habits to death, put them away, send them away, put them in the grave, whatever you want to call it. This is also a time of New Year for a lot of people, and the end of a year, if not Halloween, Samhain, All Souls time, sometimes during like winter solstice, or like January, or any time between Samhain and vernal equinox, spring, throughout the country tends to be a new year for people. So it's a good time to put things to death, put things away, out with the old, in with the new type of shit. So that's what's really good with this death oil. And then the ancestral summoning potion, that's pretty much used, you could use it if you wanted to bring him into ritual space, like any type of spell work you're doing. Another way that you can use them, that I use it, is that I have this, well, not right now because I burned it already, but it's traditional to light a candle for any type of offerings you'll put on Shabbat. Shabbat is one of the few of the Jewish influences in Bohemian tradition. It very much pertains to the Sabbath, or Shabbat, which is the holy rest day of Saturday. So what you do is you'll give them an offering, plate of some food and their drinks, put in a tea light or a taper candle. A tradition, it was a taper candle, and you would just burn it just for a little bit, and then you'd put it out. Now we usually just use a tea light. Once it burns out, we'll just use a new one. And you'd dress it with some oil. Death potion and ancestral summoning potion are, I should probably have said this already, but they aren't actually like Bohemian specific. This is just stuff that I make in my practice. But you dress the candle in that oil. I use the ancestral summoning potion, so it kind of summons and calls them to receive the offering. The light's a symbol of guidance, guided by the light. And I'll sprinkle periwinkle. It's right here. Just a second. So I'll sprinkle some periwinkle on there. Periwinkle is a really good death herb. So with the death potion, I don't remember off the top of my head the recipe. If you really want a recipe, I don't mind giving it, because this isn't a cultural thing. This is my practice type of thing. What I'll do is I'll share off what I can remember off the top of my head, and then I'll check my notebooks, and anything that I've missed, I'll just put it in the comments. So, not the comments, sorry, the description box. The description box will have the complete, accurate recipe as I wrote it down, or as it's written down. And then in this video, I'll share with you what I can remember from it, because my notebook, as far as I can tell, is not in here right now. So, it is very much Bohemian inspired, and by Bohemian inspired, I mean like using herbs or woods, barks, whatever, that are pretty useful or used in Bohemian tradition, so they may be uncommon to you. So one of the things obviously in here is graveyard dirt. My graveyard dirt actually sits on my ancestral altar. I kind of set up one side for my bloodline. That's usually the bloodline ancestor side. And then this is like more the one you can't see is more of like a spirit line ancestor. That's roughly how I set it up. Not exactly. You can tell I burned some candle. Actually, I just burned one candle on it. And it really, this one was really interesting. It, it burned, it burned really weird. It really melted on top of it. I mean, yeah, it was a taper candle, but I've burned taper candles before. Like the taper candle that was burning for my Ancestral Summoning Potion was a pretty clean burn, to be honest. Whereas, and that one was like set up really weird just to try and keep it level so it wasn't like burning weird. This one, you didn't really need to do all that, but it like really like engulfed and burned over it. And there was like some scorpions showing in the wax. There was a lot of like pillars. So it was really interesting how this candle burned. But what's in here is obviously periwinkle. I think I did forget to write that in my notebook, but it's okay. I remember I used it. Parsley and periwinkle are like the heavy herbs that are put in here. Of course, there's graveyard dirt, like I said. There's also glossberry roots and the berries. If you don't know what glossberry is, I don't think anyone actually calls it that, but like Bohemian. But glossberry is basically American black nightshade. It's also what's going to be in my Wind Rider's potion, which I'm going to be making soon. I'm just not sure exactly if there's a special day that I want to make it on. I can't remember. That one is a Bohemian cultural thing, but we'll talk about that on a different day because it's kind of one of those. We'll have a separate video talking about it. That one I might even make it on video. I don't know. It just depends on how it goes. With this one, there's the graveyard dirt, there's parsley, there's periwinkle, there's also holly leaves, there's glossberry roots and berries, there's cicada skins, there's 3 animal bones. I think that's it. If there's more, like I said, it'll be, the whole recipe will be written in the description box. Obviously I put in olive oil, but this, like I said, oh, I did forget something. I put sulfur in here too. That's why there's kind of like this yellowy green color. That's because a little bit of sulfur. Oh, and patchouli. Also put patchouli in here. And I think rosemary, or at least the essential oil or something like that. Definitely put patchouli essential oil in here, which really helps it smell good. It kind of smells flowery, and but also, so like you kind of smell the sulfur, but you also smell like a really it kind of has that I think, you know, about like moldy, damp, wet soil, that it has that like sweet, pungent smell. That's kind of what it has. To me, I think it smells delicious. It very much could make someone feel repulsed, but to me, I feel like it really has maybe a slightly sweeter than desired death smell, but it smells good. And I don't know, I like it. I think it's perfect. I was a little worried when I put the sulfur in it that I might put too much, but it turned out to be just the right amount. So moving on, we're going to talk about my Ancestral Summoning Potion. I feel like I've kind of already talked about the ways in which to use these potions, so I'm just going to kind of share with you the recipes and kind of just show off my bottle. Now, this was not the original pendant that I had on there. Originally, it had I think it was plastic, but it was like gold colored, and it was a Tree of Life with like Elder Futhark runes. And color wise, it looked okay, but it didn't symbolically look good, and part of me thinks it kind of clashed. This is, I think, either pewter or maybe it's silver. I'm not exactly sure. It doesn't bend easily, so I'm leaning towards like actual silver, or maybe it's a steel. I'm not sure. This was gifted to me like a good 2 or more years ago, in like some witchy mail. It's the Triskel or Triskelion, and I feel like it really goes well with the cap. This is, yes, this is Skull Vodka. I did buy this. I personally didn't think it was that expensive. I guess that really depends on your budget, what you're willing to invest in. I kind of think about when I buy something, whether or not it's an investment. So I don't buy a bottle of alcohol unless I know, one, I'm gonna really like it. Two, I'm gonna use that bottle in a potion. Because I tend to use alcohol bottles as my mamavalinish, my mother bottles, so the master bottles, or mamavalinish. So that's why I will tend to get big ones. Also, I don't go through alcohol a lot. I do want to get to a point where I do host. Yeah, I think this was the one that used my Jerusalem olive oil because it didn't fill it up all the way. But it filled it up enough. I didn't really want it filled up all the way. I feel like this is good enough. But anyway, I could talk on and on about like alcohol and stuff like that, but that's not what we're here for. So this one definitely has rosemary in it. I put a lot of rosemary in here. This one doesn't have graveyard dirt. What it does have is some of my Israel dirt. I don't know if you can see. It has the Israel dirt that was also gifted to me in some witchy love mail. So actually, while I was looking for those dirts, I actually found something else that was in the death potion that I did forget about. This was also given in some witchy love mail. It's some rotting tree bark from the graveyard. So I put some of this in there. Forgot about that. I got so caught up in the willow that I forgot to actually put that in there too. But some things back to the Ancestral Summoning Potion. So besides the Israel dirt, I also put some ashes. This is my grams. Well, technically it's her and her favorite cat. Because we did end up mixing their ashes. Excuse me. But since right now this is the only ancestor whose ashes I have, if I had access to like graveyard dirt of like certain ancestors, then I would also mix that with this, and it would become like an ancestral powder or ancestral dirt, or whatever you want to call it. But right now it's just one person. I also put in some of this Staronova synagogue dirt. Just because it's a really sacred place. This is also in Prague. If you watched my live stream when I made the Onkukoli, then you may remember me talking about some of these, because I mentioned the place, what's it called? Macabre, I can't remember. It's like Macabre, I think it's Macabre Magical Curios. I put the link in my link tree in my bio on Instagram, but I'll try to remember to put it in here too for the YouTuber, or for the tubesters. But I also put the Vltava riverbank dirt in Prague just because that's a sacred place in there. Another reason why I put these on here is because yes, it brings in that Prague, Ashkenazi, Czech, Jewish lineage, just like the Israel dirt does. But these are also specific places to the Jewish community that are sacred. This synagogue is, I think, the first one built in there, or it's a very old one. And it's supposedly where the Golem of Prague has been laid to rest. But technically, it hasn't really been found. And the stairs to the attic were actually removed. But another reason why I put this in there is because this has elemental, like, because it's the riverbank, it has that river water and those river spirits that are also in some way tied to the ancestors. But this was also used roughly, it was probably more like clay that was sifted out, but this was used to make the Golem of Prague. So these are very sacred dirts to tie to my ancestral lineage. If I was able to get any type of Scottish dirt and Irish dirt or things of that nature, those will be added to my Ancestral Summoning Potion as well. I'm also going to try and get some dirt from Brittany, France, and probably from Saint-Ismeri de la Mer. I also want to get some from Kent, England, for my Ramna shell ancestors, just because it's important to, that's something that I find is really important to bring that component into your ancestral summoning potion, because you're touching upon all the ancestors that you possibly can. Now, if that's not something that you're capable of doing, I did also put my blood in here, so technically all my ancestors through my blood should be accessible through this potion, but the dirts bring power. In my tradition, ancestor is beyond lineage. It's beyond the lineage ancestor, so it's beyond the spirit line and the bloodline. Maybe I'll make a video talking separately about spirit line and bloodline ancestors, and I might make a video also talking about ancestors in general in my practice. But to give a brief idea, ancestors are both divine, primal, and lineage in my practice. And so divine obviously is deity, ancestors, primal is things of the land, but also like celestial bodies, and then lineage ties into bloodline and spirit line. Like I said, I'll make a separate video talking about that, but that's why I put that dirt in there, because it helps connect with the land and also connect with those land spirits. That's another thing that you can use with ancestral summoning dirt or ancestral summoning potion, is that if you put that dirt in there, then you can connect to the land and the land spirits and the energy of that land. So having dirt and different types of dirt it's really magical, and having dirt from ley lines, that's really magical as well. So if you have Sedona dirt, like Sedona, Arizona, and maybe you have indigenous heritage, then and they were from that area, that's gonna be really powerful. You know, just I wouldn't add any holy waters to the oil, just because oil and water don't mix. But if there's any herbs that, like, maybe you can't get access to dirt, but you can get access to like certain trees or woods, that's really important. That'd be really good. Something that I didn't think to add, but I have this 9 ancient oak spirit dirt, I think it's called, or something like that. And if it's in Slovakia, if it's from that forest, I think it is, or if it's from like Czech or Slovakia, I might include that in here too. I might want to try and see if I can figure out what forest it got from. But if it's from that land, it's still from the country and the land that's sacred. So, and that'll be a good way to also connect more tree spirits in this oil. But that's pretty much it. You know, that's what you can use it for. The death potion, you can use it to put things to rest, get rid of old habits, get rid of old relationships, old, you know, ways of thinking. You can put a job to rest, you know, if you're wanting to move, or you want to put a death to a problem or something like that, you can use it for that. It is more of a situational thing. It's not really gonna actually put anyone in the grave. That's a different oil. But like I said, I don't know if I feel comfortable sharing that with y'all. Not with y'all specifically, but putting it on a public platform that anyone can see, just because of knowing how the spiritual community is currently, and how they're just very quick to be so offended and you know, jump to conclusions and stuff like that. I'm just like, I'm not really in the mood to deal with that. But that's some ways that you can use a death potion. Obviously, ancestral summoning potion, you can use that to summon your ancestors if you want to do divination with your ancestors. Oh, one thing I forgot to mention was a seance. This would be really good for a seance. If you work with a spirit board or whatever divinatory practices you know of or that you work with and you feel comfortable with doing, you can use this to help commune with them. You can even just use it and have a meditation and like talk to them, and then have your moment of silence to receive any wisdom they want to give you. You can use it when you're doing any type of scrying. I think that's another video that I want to do, is like talk about different ways of scrying, because everyone talks about the scrying mirror and painting it, and that's really good. There's a lot of ways that you can do that, but no one talks about like scrying into a stone, or scrying into a bowl of molasses. That's actually really good. No one's ever talked about scrying with molasses, and that's actually, I've done that a few times. Not recently, but I've done it before, and you get some good stuff out of there. You don't have to worry about it moving, like if it was a black bowl of water and then there's like wind or something like that, or whatever, you just happen to breathe out and it shifts and then it distorts your focus because it's so thick. Oh, it's so cool. And then you can leave it out as an offering to the ancestors and the spirits of the dead and stuff like that. And with it being so thick and dark and rich, it's a really good offering to give to the spirits of the dead. But that's a topic for a different day. But I hope you found this video good. If you have any other questions of ways that you can use these oils, or if you want some suggestions on substitutions, make sure you check the recipes in the description box. To be fair, I don't think I fully gave the Ancestral Summoning Potion one, but it's okay, it's in the description box. What I shared with you is what I could remember. Oh, I know that there's also ivy vine in there. What else did I put in here? Oh, coffee. Put some coffee in here. Pumpkin seeds. Oof. Yeah, I can't remember what else I put in here, to be honest. So definitely check the recipes in the description box. Check that link. I'm gonna put the link for that Etsy shop where I get these powders and stuff. Yeah. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Do you like this opona? I tried to put it on in a different way today. I kind of like it. I don't think I can do that with all of mine just because of like how long they are. But this one's like an actual silk scarf. I'm conditioning my hair because it got really dry when I got sick. I don't know how. So I'm like trying to like really condition it. Anyway, y'all don't want to hear about that shit. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Night, afternoon, whatever. Can't wait to hear your comments. Oh, I know this is probably not going to be uploaded for a few weeks, but I really appreciate how y'all have been commenting already in just the first 2 videos that I uploaded. At the time of me recording this, I already have 2 videos uploaded. Or, oh, well, technically I only have 1, besides the, what's it called? Season trailer or whatever. But I really appreciate y'all actually engaging. If we can do cross-platform engagement, am I asking too much? I'm sorry, but if we could do cross-platform engagement, that'd be really cool. I really think that it's time that we build up the community again. You know, we had one, and then, you know, people were leaving YouTube or they were dying or whatever, and then COVID happened. I feel like we just haven't really come back from that. So, yeah, I challenge us to do that. Alright, as always, thank you for watching. Oh, should I just say goodbye, tubesters, or should I say my normal thing? Oh my gosh, I feel like I'm just dragging this out right now. Let me just keep with the original. Bye, Knavo.